Well, good morning to you, Central Georgia. Filling in for meteorologist Alex Pry as he's currently on a school visit. Now, the headline for the extended forecast for today is the warm temperatures. Now, we're finally out of the rainy period. Last weekend for Mother's Day was dreary. Not the best type of weather for especially all the mothers or grandmothers here in Central Georgia. Now we don't have any rain chances, but as I mentioned, temperatures will return back to the 90s. And we haven't seen 90s here in Central Georgia since September. Here's a look at all the sky cams in Central Georgia. So in Perry, Warner Robins, Macon, and in Dublin, we're seeing fair weather. We're seeing scattered clouds and mostly sunny conditions actually in Dublin. The current number in downtown Macon, 76 degrees, winds coming from the west-southwest at 13 miles per hour. Here's a look at today's headlines. A brief break from the rain. So of course, we're not having any rain chances today or tomorrow, but that's going to change for this weekend as there's some uncertainty in the forecast. I'll break it down with a future view, and we're beginning a stretch of 90. So we have, once again, temperatures returning back to the 90s, and it looks like it's going to stay here in our neck of the woods for the next 7 days, and then a small weekend rain chance. And actually, I'm just going to move this computer just so that you can have a full view of what's to come. But we have small weekend rain chances as a front's going to move in. That's going to provide potentially scattered rain. However, we do have a level 1 out of 5 risk for severe weather for north central Georgia for Saturday. So I'll show you all of that coming up. Here's a look at the satellite radar. Absolutely quiet, nothing in the picture, so we are dry at the moment. We're going to zoom back towards a view of the southeast, and it once again shows much of the same. Mostly sunny conditions. We do have a couple of very isolated showers in Tennessee and in Mississippi, and they're very isolated and pop up in nature. But just an hour ago in Tennessee, we actually had a severe thunderstorm warning from one of these really small isolated showers and storms. So some of them could pack a punch, but don't worry, for Central Georgia, we're not expecting any type of severe weather for today. Now, in terms of what's going on and why we have mostly sunny conditions, we have a high pressure system parked just south of the Florida Panhandle. That's clearing out all the weather because of high pressure. It makes it hard for anything to really develop. So that's causing the fair weather as of right now. We have a low pressure system off towards Arkansas and North Louisiana. That's causing the scattered showers and those pop-up isolated showers because of the atmospheric setup that's really favorable for this type of weather. And this low pressure system also has a cold front with it, and that's the frontal boundary that will be coming towards our neck of the woods for Saturday. Now, in terms of the temperatures all across the United States, we're seeing above average temperatures for much of the South. We're seeing lower 80s in Panama City, Montgomery 80, 81 degrees in New Orleans, 80 degrees in Houston, and 81 degrees in Laredo. Now, in the Lone Star State, they're expecting really high temperatures. Yesterday, they had temperatures already into the triple digits. We're talking about reaching 90 degrees here in Central Georgia. Well, imagine triple digits in May. And that was mainly for the Laredo and the Valley area of Texas. So those are the areas where they experienced the highest temperatures typically in the country. So seeing triple digits in May is something that I do not want to see. Going up towards the north, seeing a mid to upper 70s, which is also above average for this time of year. Typically temperatures towards the north are towards the lower 70s for mid-May. Temperatures here in Central Georgia, mid 70s for much of our neck of the woods. We do have a couple of upper 70s in Warner Robins and in Rochelle. We're not seeing any 80s at the current moment. In terms of comparing this to 24 hours ago, not seeing much change, seeing maybe a degree difference warmer towards the north and also for the south. But in Dublin, it's actually 1 degree cooler than this time yesterday. Humidity has been fair, but we do have pockets of moisture. So we have humidity values into the mid to upper 60s, but we do have a pocket of moisture in Dublin. So with this increased humidity, you could really feel it, especially yesterday. I walked outside and actually I used a term that I haven't used back in the summertime called air you can wear weather, where you walk outside and you just feel like the air is wrapped around you. So that is returning. And with the 90s back into our forecast, feels like temperatures are going to be a lot higher. We're going to have to focus on heat index values as we approach the summer months. So here's the feels like temperatures right now in central Georgia, seeing mid to upper 70s. And I mentioned that we don't have any actual temperatures really into the lower 80s, but in terms of the feels like temperatures, Warner Robins and Unadilla, McRae, Sandersville, all feeling like they're into the lower 80s. So the heat index values today are expected to be into the lower 90s, so just a couple degrees warmer than the actual temperatures. So thankfully, not seeing much of an insane jump in terms of feels like temperatures, just like what we see in the summertime. Sometimes in the summertime, actual temperatures could be in the mid 90s, but we could have heat index values around 100 degrees or maybe 105 degrees. So thankfully, not seeing much in terms of heat index value difference from the actual temperature. So today's forecast, a dry day finally. Thankfully, yesterday we had a 20% chance of rain. We didn't see anything. I think it's going to be very similar to yesterday in terms of having mostly dry weather, sunny skies, and it will also be warm and breezy. So we're going to have gusts around 25 miles per hour occasionally throughout the day. I don't think it will be anything to knock your socks off, but you may just have one of those brief winds that may mess up your hair. But as I mentioned, the headline for today is the temperatures back to the 90s, back since September, which was before Helene. Here's a look at the storm outlooks all throughout the country. So here in central Georgia, we're not under a level 1, but we have a level 2 and a level 3 for the Midwest in Ohio. That's going to change and go more towards the south, so it will be more for Tennessee. Thankfully, here in central Georgia, we're not under any severe weather risk. But I mentioned earlier the front that is right now in Louisiana and Arkansas. That's going to drag itself southward and reach our neck of the woods by Saturday. It's expected to break apart, but we still have a level 1 out of 5 risk for severe weather for north central Georgia. So as of right now, we're not seeing much in terms of potential storms, but if we do see any storms, this just goes to show that there is a chance that some of them could be strong. But in my full opinion, I don't think we'll have a severe weather event just like what we had last weekend, especially last Saturday, where we had a couple severe thunderstorm warnings, especially in south central Georgia. I don't think it'll be anything like that for this upcoming Saturday. Here's a look at the future view. So future view is going to show on and off clouds, especially for north central Georgia in the next couple of hours, but it's going to be a fair, pleasant day. And with this cloud cover, it could limit some temperatures in some spots where it could be a little bit below the 90s, but I still think most of central Georgia will be really feeling the warm air, but it's going to be dry. We'll get into the late night looking great. We'll have pockets of clouds, so it'll be a partly cloudy night ahead. Tomorrow, same story. There is a slight chance of some sprinkles around this time tomorrow, so 8 to 10 o'clock in the morning. And that's just all due to the moisture that's being brought into our area, and that could just provide maybe some pop-up sprinkles, but it'll just be a couple of drops where you could really just wipe it off with your windshield wipers and it really won't affect you. I won't even say bring an umbrella because I think it will not be relevant in terms of tomorrow's weather. Tomorrow afternoon, clouds will clear up and it will be a mostly sunny day tomorrow. Once again, if you have a pool, tomorrow will be the best day to use it. And if you have a pool in your neighborhood, you probably will be the best or the most popular person in the neighborhood because temperatures will be into the 90s. Feels like temperatures could be into the mid 90s as well. So it'll be a great time to jump in and enjoy the nice water. Here we go into the late night, still clear, great view of the moon. Saturday early morning, same stuff. Now we get into the picture of that front that I'm talking about that's providing that level 1 out of 5 risk for severe weather. This front is in North Georgia. Right now we're actually affecting Huntsville at that time at 4 in the morning. It's on Saturday. Notice as it approaches our area, it breaks apart. We see less red, we see less yellow, and it converts more into light green, which means it's converting from a line of storms into a line of rain. We get into 10 to 11 o'clock, still providing some showers and maybe some downpours and rumbles of thunder for north central Georgia. This takes us into noon. The line is starting to disappear and it's transitions into more of a scattered, isolated shower or maybe some storm type of pattern. We get into 1 to 2 o'clock. That line is now non-existent. We just have a couple of isolated showers affecting Macon, Jones County, and in Washington County. But notice most of central Georgia is mainly dry. We get into 3, 4 o'clock. Those blips of rain and storms actually disappear, and we have a mostly sunny afternoon and evening. So this is the scenario that we are wanting to see. We're really rooting for it. But there's still a little bit of uncertainty. Is it going to start to break apart in North Georgia, or is it going to break apart in North Central Georgia? So the earlier it breaks apart, the better for us, because that means less rain and storms. But if it breaks apart a little later, that means that we could potentially see maybe an isolated severe thunderstorm or just downpours for North Central Georgia, or more coverage for Central Georgia overall. Those are the questions that we're going to have an answer for as we approach Saturday. But as of right now, I think Saturday will be a mainly dry day. It'll have the rain and the storms confined in the morning. That's why we have a 20 to 30% chance of rain and storms for Saturday. But models show that this could be a favorable scenario for us. We get into the late night, showing mostly clear weather. For Sunday, it has that front breaking apart, but with the heat of the day on Sunday, could redevelop some showers, maybe some isolated storms for that time. We get into Sunday afternoon, maybe some isolated showers or storms. Monday afternoon, showing a couple of isolated blips, a couple of isolated sprinkles, but the rain chances are still extremely low. We get into Tuesday, showing mostly sunny weather, so Tuesday could be a really good day. And then for Wednesday, we have another front moving in. The Euro and the GFS, they're in agreement of the location of this front, and this could provide a rain chance for the middle of next week. Here are the temperatures. So today, tomorrow, seeing nothing in terms of rain, and the headline for the rain will be mostly for this weekend. But the headline for today, I've mentioned this I think 3 times already, is the temperatures, the return of the 90s, and the 90s seem to stay for the near future. So here's a look at tomorrow. We're expecting a little bit of a jump in terms of temperatures. We should see temperatures into the lower to mid 90s, so 93 is the forecasted high for tomorrow. Saturday, 91 degrees. We get into Sunday, still sticking with 90 degrees, and then going a little bit higher than that for Monday at around 93 degrees. So for the 7-day forecast that I'll show you in a couple of graphics, we're expecting the 90s to stay for the weekend, the start of next week, and the middle of next week as well. Morning lows will also stay warm. We'll be well into the 60s. I think last month we had a couple of mornings where we had upper 40s and lower 50s. Well, that's not going to happen this time for the near future. It's going to be a really warm start to your day. I don't even think you need a sweater at all. You could just go outside with a t-shirt and shorts and you'll still be fine all throughout the overnight. So in terms of cold or chilly conditions, you won't have to worry about that as we're starting to transition into the summer months. Now, I mentioned transitioning into the summer months, that's when we focus a little bit more on the humidity. Humidity for the next couple of days are going to be relatively high. I showed you the humidity that is currently here in central Georgia, and we had some pockets of moisture. That story is going to continue as we end the week. So today, tomorrow, and for Saturday, dew point values will be into the upper 60s, which is considered humid on the scale. And then that front's going to move in. That's going to provide drier weather, which will drop humidity values into the upper 50s for Sunday and for Monday. Tuesday, we may go back into the lower 60s in terms of the dew point values, which will bring us back into humid. And then Wednesday, dropping a little bit into the upper 50s, which is considered comfortable. Here's a look at the feels like temperatures. So the next couple of days, it will be humid. That will bring our feels like temperatures a little higher than the actual temperatures. So for later today, we'll see feels like temperatures into the lower 90s. We'll get into tomorrow. We're expecting actual temperatures to be a little higher than the lower 90s. So I think the forecasted high is 93 degrees. The feels like temperatures are forecasted to be into the mid 90s tomorrow. We get into Saturday, same story. We'll see feels like temperatures 92 degrees in Macon, 93 degrees in Dublin. So with that 3-degree difference in terms of actual temperatures or feels like temperatures, you'll really feel the difference as the humidity will be relatively high for the next couple of days. Now, we mentioned that the last time we saw 90 degrees here in central Georgia was before Helene in September, but here are just the general averages for when we see our first 90-degree day. So the earliest ever in central Georgia or in Macon to see 90 degrees was in March 10th. That's a really early start to seeing really warm temperatures, because in February, that's the time where we typically get freezes in the early morning, and then I'd say the averages for temperatures will be into the mid to lower 70s. So seeing 90s in March 10th was definitely a surprise for everyone. The average time we see our first 90-degree day is May 4th, which was a couple of weeks ago. So actually we are behind schedule. We're not ahead of schedule in terms of seeing 90s. So May the 4th, we know that day, the Star Wars day, we'll see typically our first 90-degree day. The latest we saw our 90-degree day was in June 29th, which was already starting to get into the heart of summer. And that is just insane to see. Imagine averaging 80 degrees throughout June and not seeing 90 degrees. That's what we call a cool start to summer. Here's a look at the 7-day forecast. So today and tomorrow, mostly sunny conditions. We don't have any rain chances, straying away from that rainy pattern that affected us for the past couple of days and last weekend. Main headline, I think I counted, 1, 2, 3, well, I'll say it the fourth time. Main headline, the return of the 90s, 90 degree today, 93 degrees tomorrow. Rain chances return for this weekend. We have a frontal boundary coming from the north, and it will provide a rain chance for the morning, mid-afternoon, but the models are saying it's going to break apart. So there's still a little bit of uncertainty in terms of what it will do. Right now, the models give us a favorable scenario, but we still have a level 1 out of 5 risk for severe weather for north central Georgia. Sunday, still 20% chance of rain. The thing about Sunday is that the front will provide drier air, and dry air also limits our rain chances in general. It makes us makes it so that we won't see much of robust weather. So in terms of seeing widespread weather, I'm not expecting anything like that for Sunday. If we do see rain, it will be scattered to isolated in nature. Very pop-up, similar weather that we had for the start of the week. Monday and Tuesday, still sticking with the relatively dry weather. So we'll have a 10% chance of rain for both of these days. Great days. However, temperatures are still going to be high, around the mid to lower 90s. Then we get into Wednesday, rain chances return as another front's going to move in. So that could provide some rain. Right now, in terms of potential storms, a little too early to tell, but in terms of the timing, we're seeing that the models are in agreement that a front could provide a rain chance for the middle of next week. And the temperatures will still stay high as we'll linger into the lower 90s. So that's your extended forecast. I'll be back for our midday show coming up. Thank you very much and have a beautiful day, Central Georgia.